FHS season tickets.
Welcome into another episode of FHS Season Tickets. I'm Michael.
And I'm Nick.
And today we're going to be discussing the NBA playoffs, where the first round has been pretty exciting, and the first team that we're going to be talking about are the hometown Cleveland Cavaliers, and they are in a very exciting series so far with the Indiana Pacers.
Exciting!
I would call it exciting.
Exciting for Pacers fans. It's pretty depressing for us.
I don't know how depressing you would say it would be. I mean, the Cavs are still tied 1-1. It looks like I would say they're going to advance out of this round.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you look at the future of the Cavs and you think about Eastern Conference semifinals or Eastern Conference finals or potentially NBA finals, the future might look bleak for the Cavs, but I think the short-term future is still going to be all right for the Cavaliers. But it hasn't been easy against the Indiana Pacers. Nick, what have been your first reactions throughout the first two games?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had so much confidence in the Cavs. Even like going to the finals, like I didn't think that they were always going to be the favorites, but I always thought like they always had a shot just because of just our team. I always thought our team was just really just deadly and everything. I thought we had the perfect role players for Kyrie, LeBron. Like, just shows me kind of the impact Kyrie had. Obviously, top 15 players going to have that sort of impact when he leaves, but it's pretty jaw-dropping, to be honest, because you have LeBron going off for 46, which would have been enough, really, for like a run against the Warriors in a few of those finals games, but we're barely beating the Pacers by 3, the roster is just bad for the Pacers. Like, this looks like the Boston Celtics team we 4-0'd 3 years ago. Like, yeah, I think it was our first this season.
Playoff series
Yeah.
with LeBron back.
Yeah, with LeBron back. First playoff series with LeBron back. This looks like that Pacers team right now. I mean, all like really young and no big names at all. That was even before they had Isaiah Thomas. So I just think it's looking bleak right now. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think about like how stuff can happen so fast in sports. But I mean, we had a really good run. I think that you obviously can't take anything for granted, and just the way sports move, there's always cycles and everything. So I mean, it came back around for us so we had to pay it forward, I guess. We gotta just expect this, to be honest.
Yeah, the Cavs' downfall, it hasn't been like totally shocking. As there were a lot of times this year where people would be counting out the Cleveland Cavaliers. I know before the trade deadline, a lot of people were leaving them dead, and then they had a nice little run.
Yeah.
With during the time that Ty Lue was out as the Cleveland Cavaliers head coach, and that was like a nice little stretch where the Cavs looked like the Cavs of old, and it looked like they were going to make the finals. I don't think many people predicted them to win the finals, but lots of people thought they would make the finals. And now it's looking really grim for the Cavs. I think that even though, despite winning Game 2, I feel worse about the Cavs winning the series after Game 2 than I did before Game 2. Because before Game 2, I was like, it's just one really bad game for the Cavs. They scored 80 points. That's never going to happen again. And then I watched Game 2, and I think about Oladipo only playing 28 minutes, and he has just been a problem for the Cavs. I mean, I obviously thought that the Cavs were going to struggle to slow him down, but he's been a little bit better than what I think I even expected from the Cavs. Then LeBron scores 46, and the Cavs only get basically a 6-point victory because somebody hit a meaningless 3 at the buzzer. But it goes down as a 197 victory for the Cavaliers in a game where LeBron absolutely dominated. So I think that definitely makes me more concerned about the short term and just this series, because being tied 1-1 after LeBron plays just a fantastic game and still having to work for that game in the final couple minutes is definitely concerning if you're a Cavs fan. But I think they at least split in Indiana, and then the Cavs should win Game 5, and then I think it's just a matter of time of whether the Cavs eliminate the Pacers in Game 6 or Game 7. What do you say, Nick?
Yeah, I agree with all those takes. I mean, I really think that the finals, reaching the finals, is our cap for this team, and that would even be pretty with like the surprising competition that we've been facing. Like looking at the names, you wouldn't think so, but I mean, even the Sixers are looking good.
I have some stuff to say about that.
Yeah, but I just think that it's gonna be looking hard, and it just really brings up the thing like, is LeBron leaving? Like, that's the hanging question.
$1 million question.
Yeah,
$1 billion question.
$1 billion question for real, like for the revenue. And I mean, I've always been the guy that said I wouldn't be mad at all LeBron. I would actually Like to see where he goes. Like to see him be successful because he did get the ring for us, and he did do so much things.
High school ball in Ohio.
Yeah, he did do. He wouldn't do that because he did just do great things for the program, for our team, for our home team. I would love for that and stay, but I just want to see them do successful, and it brings up the point of wondering where he's going to go. See all these potential teams rising up. I mean, obviously, I don't think he's going to be going to New Orleans, but that's just an example of like teams that are doing better than expected that are on the come up. Like, I mean, obviously, Sixers is a much talked about thing. I mean, I think that's definitely likely that he goes there, but there's a bunch of other landing spots that have been linked to LeBron. But just a really weird season for Cavs fans because it's been since 2014 since it's honestly like this is probably like what they felt like in like 2009, 2010, like when they were still like a really big top team, but then they like lost, and then you don't know where LeBron's going. Like, I feel like that's almost the same, almost like it's a different feeling though, because like the last 3 years, I'm sure almost every Cavs fan always expected a dominance in the Eastern Conference for sure. This year is kind of up in the air. A lot of things are up in the air, so it's a little bit of transition period, but we'll see how it goes in the future for sure.
Yeah, and I think throughout the rest of the video, I think we just talk about each of the rest of the series. So we'll stick in the East we'll talk about the rest of those series, and I'll move to the West. We'll go to the 1 seed in the East, Toronto, up 2-0 against Washington. I thought Toronto would win the series in 5 games, and it's looking like that's going to be very likely. They are surprisingly a 2-point road underdog in Game 3, which I don't really understand. I think that Toronto should be a favorite. I'm fairly confident that they win tonight, not 100%, but I think at worst they split against Washington in the 2 games that Washington has at home, and then they finish the deal in Game 5. So the Raptors have been looking a little bit better, but Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, DeMar DeRozan had a huge Game 2, but in Game 1 it was looking really shaky until they pulled it out at the end.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the Raptors are going to finish off the Wizards.
And then the Bucks just completely choking golden opportunity against the Boston Celtics, where Boston playing without Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving, and the Bucks, they got Giannis and I guess you could say Chris Middleton, and really nobody else. Bledsoe's just been terrible so far in this series. He's getting torched by Terry Rozier. And then did you see
you didn't even know who he was?
You see the reporter going, what do you think, how are you going to like slow down Terry Rozier? And he's like, who? He's like, Terry Rozier, the point guard you guard. He's like, I don't even know who the F that is. I think you should know, because he kind of hit that step back 3 that looked like it was going to win Game 1 before Chris Middleton hit that insane shot. Those final 12 seconds were insane. I didn't get to see it live because I was at work, but I'm sure if you did, you were just going nuts for the whole time, because just back to back to back, just daggers.
So I think the Celtics are just showing the value of Brad Stevens, and I think they're just showing the value of the role players that they have.
Quick quiz: who's the Bucks head coach?
Jason Kidd got fired, right?
Yeah.
No clue who their coach is.
Joe Prunty.
Joe Prunty, baby.
I am 100% certain if he walked into this room and claimed to be like a high school teacher shadowing us, I would believe him, because like he just hasn't been good for the Bucks, and like he's just so irrelevant that the difference between Joe Prunty and Brad Stevens has just been shown off, because the
Who
Bucks,
fires their coach in the middle of a playoff run?
A team that's been disappointing to their high expectations.
Yeah.
And obviously things changed, because now they're down 0-2 to, oh wait, they didn't change.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we can move on. These are some snooze-fest playoff games. Let's just say that.
Sixers Heat.
Okay, the Sixers Heat is lit.
That was one of the best first-round playoff games that ended with like a 15-point difference of victory that I've ever seen. The amount of jump shots that were made in that game was just absurd. The teams combined to shoot, I believe, above 50% from three-point range. There were way too many free throws shot. That's one thing that I'm not like.
I didn't watch Embiid do well.
Yes, Embiid did pretty well. He started off 0 for 5, but I think he...
Last year we were hype on Embiid, or at least I was.
Well, at least I was. Don't give me that. You know I'm a huge Embiid guy. But yeah, that game, just the amount of three-point shots that were made and just difficult jumpers was just absolutely insane. Like the teams are just going blow for blow throughout the first 3 quarters, and then the Sixers just absolutely took over in the fourth quarter, dominated the Heat. Like, Nick is dominating that.
We're just
Polar
going
Pop.
in on this Polar Pop right now.
So the 76ers took back home court advantage against the Heat in Game 3, advanced to get to 2-1 lead in the series, and it looks like they're going to advance to the next round. But this series has just been tons of entertainment so far, and Justice Winslow stepping on Embiid's mask, and then Embiid saying post-game that there were 2 more at the game, and then they made like 40 others, so that's pretty crazy. The Sixers, they have those masks stocked up for Embiid, so yeah.
Just in case Winslow strikes again.
Yeah, I mean, he made like 4 threes in the first half, and then learned he was Justice Winslow and didn't make any more threes in the second half. But we'll go into the Western Conference, where James Harden is shooting 2 for 18 and the Rockets are winning by 20, so that's all you really need to know about that series and how good the Minnesota Timberwolves are.
Yeah, they're trash.
Derrick Rose, more field goal attempts than Jimmy Butler and Karl Anthony Towns in the playoffs. So
That's insane.
that's a winning formula if I've ever seen one.
Insane.
All right, we'll go to the 2 vs. 7 matchup, which is just providing tons of excitement with the Golden State Warriors being up 3-0 against the San Antonio Spurs.
Come on, Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody was rooting for the Spurs last night after the tragic death of Greg Popovich's wife, but unfortunately for them, they couldn't get it done.
Does anyone know how that happened?
Apparently, she was battling a sickness for an extended period of time.
Okay. So sad.
Yes, but on the basketball side of things, the Spurs just really can't deal with anything the Warriors do. Even without Steph Curry, the Warriors are still dominating the San Antonio Spurs, and the Spurs just they look old without Kawhi Leonard. It's finally catching up to them, and they're showing off. This is probably the worst Spurs team in like 15 years,
Easily.
and they still made the playoffs. So that just shows the model of consistency that they have been throughout the NBA. And then the next series we're going to be talking about is the one series where it looks like I'm going to get wrong, because I was not high on New Orleans. I wasn't really high on Portland, but I was just a little bit lower on New Orleans than I was Portland. And then New Orleans has just came out and dominated Portland in all aspects of the game, being up 3-0. Portland looks like they want to give up, and Damian Lillard has been terrible. CJ McCollum hasn't been good. Nurkic is getting dominated, and I bet you the average NBA fan couldn't name anybody else on the Portland Trailblazers. So that just shows how things are going right there in Rip City for the number 3 seed in the Western Conference.
Yep. It's a pretty predictable first round, I feel like, other than that, for sure.
I mean, the final series, Utah versus OKC, that one is looking pretty exciting. I thought that Utah would win the series. They took 1-2 from OKC on the road, so we'll see if they can win games 3 and 4 at home, as that's going to be absolutely crucial. Donovan Mitchell playing very well for a rookie in the NBA playoffs, having a tough task guarding Russell Westbrook, but he's lived up to the hype and has been going blow for blow with them. And then Thunder, they've been doing what they've been doing all season, with Paul George being a little bit inconsistent, Carmelo Anthony always making you feel like he has another gear and he's not hitting it, and then Steven Adams has just been consistently good, but never anything much more. So, Nick, who do you got winning that series? As I feel like that's the biggest toss-up right now out of all the series that are still going on.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Utah. I think Utah, they're just a lot better team overall, and I think that Russell and Paul George really can't carry that team against a good Utah team with Donovan Mitchell coming in with a great help.
And if you're a Houston Rockets fan, obviously the Rockets are going to be favored against either Utah or Oklahoma City in the next round. But if you are a Houston Rockets fan, who would you rather face in the next round? Utah with Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and some other role players, or Oklahoma City with Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Carmelo Anthony, and Steven Adams?
Good question. I think I would rather play Utah, because I think there's more predictability there. I mean, even though they're going to be like a hard-working team, I think OKC could always just spark it out of nowhere.
I think I would slightly rather play OKC, but I think it's definitely a really good question, and I can see both sides of the argument. I understand the Utah argument where you're facing a rookie point guard. The Rockets feel like they have 2 Hall of Fame level. I mean, I guess you can call point guards and James Harden and Chris Paul. So they can take advantage of them, but Gobert is a much bigger force inside, but the Rockets shoot so many more threes than any of their opponents, so that kind of factors out that advantage. But then for Oklahoma City, Carmelo hasn't been good all season, so there's no reason to believe that he'll be able to turn And then Westbrook can sometimes shoot his teams out of games.
Yeah.
So both teams obviously show the potential that they could compete with the Rockets, but I think it's unlikely either of them do. Nick, any last words that you have to say before we wrap up this video?
No, I mean, it's going to be exciting to see the rest of the NBA playoffs, and we'll see how everything shakes out.
Yeah, hopefully by the time we make our next video, the Cavs are in a little bit more comfortable position than they are right now, but that'll wrap it up for this episode of FHS Season Tickets. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe for more season ticket videos.
Peace.